Courthouse as we and others.
From Western Iowa Tech Television, this is an Election 2018 update.
Good evening and welcome to WITCC's midterm election coverage. I'm Jorge Quesada. Polls have closed on the East Coast, offering a look at where the elections may go for the rest of the country. Senator Bernie Sanders has won re-election in Vermont. Based on exit polls in Minnesota, voters have elected Ilhan Omar, the very first Somali American to Congress.
Iowa polls do not close for another 30 minutes. However, polls in Nebraska and South Dakota closed at 8 tonight. Both states are in the process of electing a governor. Let's take a quick look at those states.
Hello, Luke Jansma, back again at the Woodbury County Courthouse. Right now, we, as much as many others do, await the results of the poll. Right now, a couple people have begun to drizzle in, but not much is going on. Right now, the only other people that are here right now are other news anchors from other news outlets. Stay tuned and we'll keep you updated.
Nebraska is electing a governor. I have the name. And as is South Dakota, Nebraska is electing Pete Ricketts and Bob Christie. The South Dakota are Christy Nome and Billy Sutton. Down at the Woodbury County Courthouse is Luke. Let's see what the atmosphere there is like. Join us again at 9. We'll be back with some updates updated figures as more polls close at 9 o'clock.
Western Iowa Tech Television. This is an Election 2018 update.
Good evening and welcome back to WITCC's midterm election coverage. I'm Jorge Quesada. Iowa polls have now closed and the votes are starting to pull in. We will have the first batch of those results at 9:30 right now. Let's head over to the roundtable where Gage is speaking to Steve Warnstadt, former state legislator and current director of government relations for Western Iowa Tech.
Thanks, Jorge. Thanks for joining us again, Steve.
Great to be here.
So numbers are in for South Dakota.
They're starting
some of them.
They started to come in, but it still looks like a long way to go. So.
Yeah, very close race.
Especially for the governor's race. The governor's race is a very, very small margin. We had heard that through the various polling. It is proving that it seems like every vote counts, so is the saying, and it really is looking to be that way with about a quarter of the votes in. Very, very narrow race. Yeah. This may be a long night in South Dakota.
And Nebraska's also getting numbers in.
Okay, and I think for the governor's race, the governor, Pete Ricketts, is ahead at this point. Not necessarily a surprise. Bob Christ had been a state legislator who transferred parties to run for governor. Still a lot of votes left. You see 226 out of nearly 1,400 votes. We still don't have a lot of votes out of the Omaha area or the Lincoln area. That's where Mr. Christ will have to do get a big margin in order to keep this race competitive, but he has his work cut out for him.
Those universities definitely do make a difference.
The university towns and those urban professional communities where we've been hearing a lot about suburban areas being one of the key persuadable areas for for this election. The Omaha area obviously has got a large metro area. The suburbs of Omaha also are going to be paying a key role. But it's a lot of rural areas that will tend to vote for Mr. Christ or for Mr. Ricketts, and we'll see how the election turns out.
And like you said earlier today, polling numbers right now have been a lot bigger than they were 2 years ago during the presidential election, because a lot of people are realizing that their votes do matter.
Correct.
So do you think that will also maybe change polling numbers at all?
The election results tonight, I mean, it always comes down to what do the people actually vote for during election as opposed to what they're telling the pollsters. I think part of what you're seeing tonight, it appears that one, the Democratic Party is very energized because of what's been going on at the national level. I think counter to that is a lot of the Republicans are also seeming to be mobilized because they have a concern about that so-called blue wave. I think those two factors combined seem to be contributing to a very large turnout. But what you're seeing in South Dakota, again, is an extraordinarily close race. Nebraska may still turn out to be a close race. And we may have a long night ahead of us for Iowa, given the number of races throughout the state.
And those polls have just closed.
Just closed, so they're starting to do the counts. And what I heard initially out of Woodbury County is that the last two election cycles, there were 31 to 30,000 people who voted. 15,000 this year voted absentee. So the folks who are having to count the absentees are spending a lot of time counting through those. And it may take a while for all of those votes to get counted. And I think that's true throughout every county in the state of Iowa. So we may, while the polling places have all closed, not all of those precincts have turned in their votes. And there's going to be some places where it takes a lot of time to count 15,000 votes just in Woodbury County. I think that amounts to like 100 a minute for them to go through during the day. So hopefully they were able to do it quickly, efficiently, and most importantly, accurately.
Yeah, and so obviously some counties lean differently than others.
Sure.
So are there certain areas of the state where Steve King will have to poll more, or Schulten will have to poll more in a different area?
Well, on the congressional race in Northwest Iowa, the 4th Congressional District, Congressman Steve King has normally had a 60%, normally wins 60 to 40. He will need a very large margin up in Sioux, Lyon, O'Brien, Osceola, the northwesternmost 4 counties in the state. Sometimes what we've seen is that a Republican candidate can come out of those 4 counties with 10,000 vote margin, which is about the margin that Democrats get out of Polk County. So that's why you saw Congressman King and Governor Reynolds and others have their last campaign event in Sioux County, was to make sure that those folks get out and vote. So we'll have to see. I think one of the big issues this year will be whether, since the straight party voting was eliminated, people have to vote for each individual candidate. Congressman King had had a primary opponent this year, and a lot of people supported his opponent. How many of them actually will continue to vote Republican, even though the straight party Republican line is no longer there? Conversely, J.D. Scholten's fairly, he's a young man. He's not necessarily well known. How well does that translate outside of the Sioux City metro area?
If I'm correct, though, this is the first time since 2002 Steve King's really had a true challenge.
Yeah, he had I can't remember the exact year, it might have been 2002, but Christy Vilsack ran against him a number of years ago. That was really the one race that he has had that was fairly contested. But even Christy did not raise the amount of money that J.D. Scholten did, and Steve King did not really raise as much money to do the advertising and so forth this time that he did with Christy Vilsack.
And
so,
about
very interesting race.
The governors.
That's going to be a very interesting race as well. While overall the situation normally you would expect with low unemployment and with the budget being what it is, that the incumbent governor would do well, I think there's a lot of voters that are concerned about having one party in control of both houses of the legislature and the governor's office, that may decide the one way that they can know that they can provide a check is to vote for the opposition party. So in this case, Mr. Hubble for governor. A lot of that race will come down to the suburbs west of Des Moines, so in Dallas and Warren County and that area, as well as the Cedar Rapids metro area. How many of the people who are traditionally independent voters that go one way or the other, which way do they go? And really, we won't know until those votes get counted here in the next few minutes.
Well, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
I think one of the other things, there are 4 congressional races that are occurring throughout, so we paid attention to the Northwest Iowa, obviously, but there are 2 other races. So Southeast Iowa is held by Congressman Dave Loebsack, a Democrat from Sioux City, interestingly enough, a Sioux City East grad. The polling looks like he will retain his seat. He's been a strong incumbent. But the 2 other House districts, Northeast Iowa, which is the Dubuque and Cedar Rapids area, is held by Rod Blum. Polling says that Abby Finkenauer, the Democrat, may win. And then Southwest Iowa, which goes from Des Moines to Council Bluffs, is currently held by David Young, Republican, who's being faced with very stiff competition by Cindy Axne. That by all signals, looks like it's going to be a very, very close race. It's 33, 33, 33 in terms of voter registration.
So kind of like what we're seeing.
Democrat Independent, it's a very, very much evenly balanced. And I think the thing to watch is if Abby Finkenauer and Cindy Axne were to be elected, Iowa's congressional delegation would be evenly balanced between men and women. Whereas only 4 years ago, we didn't have a woman in Congress until Joni Ernst. So a lot of things to look for, and I think all of those races are going to be close, and we may end up having to spend an hour or 2 before we get all of the results.
Yeah. So very exciting night coming ahead, but we'll be right back after some messages.
For a degree in video and media production, Western Iowa Tech is the place to go. Through the video program, you'll gain knowledge from instructors with real-world experience through a combination of hands-on exercises, lecture, and real-world applications. You'll learn how to shoot and edit video, the basics of lighting and sound, and scripting for TV and film. Upon graduation, you'll be ready to enter the world of live television and video production. Get going and visit witcc.edu for more information.
Every day across the country, hundreds of college radio stations take to the air,
broadcasting music and programming that you won't hear anywhere else.
College radio changes the lives of those who are involved with it.
And can change those who listen to it too.
You can support college radio by donating to the College Radio Fund.
This fund gives financial grants to college stations that need it the most.
And is run by a nonprofit charity called the College Radio Foundation.
For more information, please visit collegeradio.org.
For a degree in audio engineering, Western Iowa Tech Community College is the place to go. Through the audio program, you'll get to learn from instructors with real-world experience through a combination of hands-on exercises, lecture, and real-world applications. You'll learn how to operate sound equipment for live events and sound design, such as mixing and editing for media. Upon graduation, you'll be ready for the world of audio mixing and production. Get going and visit witcc.edu to find out more information.
Every day, hundreds of college radio stations take to the air. Students are building skills they can use in the industry. They gain experience on the air and organizational talents that can be put to use in a workplace. Supporting college radio and donating to the College Radio Fund gives the colleges money to work with and opens the doors of limitless possibilities to students. The grants are given out by a nonprofit charity, the College Radio Foundation. Help prospective hires earn the experience they need. For more information, please visit collegeradio.org.
Welcome back. Our very own Luke Jansma is down at Woodbury County Courthouse with a look at what the environment is like down there.
Luke Jansma, back again at the Woodbury County Courthouse, where we were with you last time. There wasn't a lot going on, but now, consider the more people have shown up, and there's a lot more hustle and bustle. As these people come in, they anxiously await the results of the polls. Early numbers show that J.D. Schulten is right at this current moment is ahead of Steve King, and we also have some early numbers from the 5 other elections we are covering here. So soon we will have the final results. That's all for right now. Stay tuned. Back to you guys.
We'll be back at 9:30 with updates on the key races as the polls have just closed.